and welcome to Grace's Secret Garden. Thank you for purchasing your DIY Christmas wreath kit, and what I wanted to show you today is give you some simple instructions of how you can create your perfect Christmas wreath. Now there's no wrong or right answer here, but this is what is incorporated in the kit, and this is the type of wreath you could expect to create. Now, yours might be bigger or smaller, it might be wilder, or it might not have as many berries in it, but that's your decision. So let's get started. Let me show you what's in the kit. And you might have picked up the kit from the stall and chose your own greenery and decorations. So things may vary, but roughly this is the sort of thing you can expect in the kit. You will get a 15-inch willow ring, that's English willow, dried. You will have chosen your jut rope or ribbon, so again that was a decision for you to make on purchase, and a selection of greenery. Now again, it may vary for the kit that you have, but here we have some spruce, conifer, some ivy seeds. Again, your seed heads might not be that colour because they were cut a little bit earlier in the season, but this is the type of thing you could expect, and some holly berries. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is prepare your area. So you need a fairly large table, and if it's precious to you, please protect it, because you will be doing some cutting, and things will be falling over onto the table, so that's one thing to consider. And then the other thing is worth having is a bin ready for you to put your cuttings in, so just in order to keep a clean working area. Things that you will need are scissors and secateurs. Now you don't really need a secateurs, the greenery is quite small, so you don't really need a secateurs to trim it, but you might find it's useful for you. Again, you might prefer to work with gloves. I don't, which is why my hands are always in a bit of a state. So, you know, that's your decision. Right, so let's get going. The first thing that I do with creating my wreath is I attach the ribbon or the jut. Now, you choose where it's to go, and I do a simple knot like this and pull it tight, so it just holds it in place. If you're hanging your wreath from a wreath bar, that's a door wreath bar, the one that you attach onto your door, you can tie a knot in it. If not, leave the knot until you work out where you're putting it with, you know, around your door knocker. So again, two things to consider. One is, you know, where are you going to put it, and the right height is going to fit on your door. Now the other thing that I would recommend is that you read and go through the instructions that are in the kit first. So read all the way through the pages, so it just kind of helps you be ready for what's coming your way, and prepares you for that. You also may have chosen some decorations from the stall, so things like sliced lemons and limes, cinnamon sticks, and I'll go through how we're going to attach those at the end. I've chosen not to have any on this because I think I prefer the more natural look, and it's also important to note that this wreath is biodegradable. So basically all you will have to do after the season ends is snip the twine. You can compost all this greenery and retain your willow wreath and your jut rope for your Easter wreath. So let's get into the actual practicalities of making the wreath. Now there's many ways of making a wreath. With this principle, we are using twine, and the concept is to use one continuous piece of twine for the whole of the wreath. So you need to attach to the one end, and you need to make sure it's attached firmly. Any knot will do. I just use a simple double knot, and it just needs to be attached pretty solidly. And this is the start of your attaching your foliage. Now basically what I do next is you're looking at creating bunches of foliage. So from the foliage that you've received, you select what you're happy with. There's no rules, no right or wrong answer here. It's about what you like the look of. The smaller the pieces, the more trim your wreath will be. The larger, the wilder your wreath will be. So that's what the principles you're working to enable you to create structure and balance. So I'm going with 3 or 4 pieces of material in any way that you want, and that's what you're creating. So now you have a choice here really, and it's whatever works best for you. You can either create a number of these bunches, as you can see here. You can create a number of bunches, or you can create them as you go. And I'm doing a bunch that will just have the holly berries. I'm having every other bunch with the holly berries. So I've started to create a little bit. Do whatever's easiest for you. The principle is this: you are attaching the bunch of foliage onto the wreath, and you are using the twine, okay, to tie it and secure it. So as you can see, you attach it under. You can put some of the material under the twine and over it, and I basically do it 3 times. Don't worry about all that the stalk sticking out. We can sort those out in a minute. But basically you're doing 1, very tightly, pulling it tightly, 2, and 3. So you have now a very secure piece of material onto your wreath. Now this is a little bit long, so I'm going to trim this, and don't worry if it becomes a little bit loose. You're tightening it as you go, so tighten as you go. So hold that there in place. So that's your first bunch. So then you've got your second bunch. If you prepared them earlier, as I have, you attach your second bunch. Okay, it's as simple as that. Again, you want to secure it tightly, so you're pulling. I'll show you the back in a minute. And you're going in between the leaves. 1, pulling it tightly. You can see how tight I'm pulling that. 2, 3. Don't worry about any bits that you're not happy with. You can cut those off later. You're creating the structure of your wreath here. Again, you might not be happy with some of those bits, so you trim them off. And then the next one, which we've got one here that I'll use, which is berries. So remember, I'm doing intermittent berries because I don't like too much red. And again, you want to be going around, covering up your last pieces of twine with the foliage from your next bunch. So again, pull 1, you see how tightly I'm pulling that, 2, and 3. Okay, so what you do is you continue going through that process all around the wreath, doing it in whatever design you've designed yourself with those bunches. Now, what I do ask you to do is do a tightness test. So hold the wreath up and just give it a little shake to see if anything falls off, and that gives you an indication that you're doing it tight enough. Now, the only other thing that I wanted to show you is how you do your end piece, so how you finish it once you get all the way round. And that is, you're tucking your tied bunch under this side, so you'll be coming round here with your string, and you're tucking it under this piece of foliage here so that you can't see the stalk. So you need to go right under there and tie accordingly. So 1, 2, 3, keeping everything in. And again, do that tightness test. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward stuff. And if you take a look at the reverse and the back of the wreath, you'll see that that's pretty much the concept of how you manage to attach your material. You may have chosen some decorations such as cinnamon sticks or limes. If you have, the way in principle is you do it, you create an extra bit of string and you attach it accordingly. Now, I haven't, I think this is enough with what I've got, but just to show you what you do, you sit it in there. That's about a 20 centimetre piece of string there, and you go under all the foliage, and there you see you can attach it. The same with the lime or the cinnamon sticks. And there you have it, your Christmas wreath. Enjoy.